2 weeks after the first UFO file release, the government just dropped another batch. Another set of over 1,000 pages of military reports, NASA astronaut encounters, CIA field reports, and videos from around the world showing objects moving in ways conventional aircraft can't. Just like how I did for the first batch of UFO files, I went through all of it, so you don't have to. Because while Reddit and skeptics are calling these drops useless, some of these videos show objects displaying instantaneous acceleration, moving in and out of the ocean without losing speed, and even appearing to change shape. The footage is the main star of the show in this second UFO file release. There's a few dozen videos, and some continue to just show orbs or white dots off in the distance, but others are more convincing. One of the videos they dropped is of a black UAP flying through a canyon and has over 15 minutes worth of footage broken across 3 videos. It doesn't perform any extravagant maneuvers, but it does appear to be a black disc-shaped object, reminiscent of the stereotypical UFO. Another video shows a brief moment of a tic-tac shaped UFO flying past. The military and government are no strangers to tic-tac UFOs, with Commander David Fravor testifying to Congress about his sighting in what's regarded as likely the UFO encounter with the most evidence. This video shows a UAP flying past a passenger plane. A different video of an object making erratic movements and instantaneous acceleration, 2 of the trademarks of exotic propulsion. And a video of a UAP being blown up. There's this video of a pulsating UAP. A lot of people have made comments online that this looks like a balloon, and I have no clue where that idea comes from. Even if you thought it was reflecting sunlight, it's at a rhythmic pattern and very clearly pulsates. This video shows 4 UAP, which begin the video underwater, known as a USO, and are very commonly reported by military personnel. Throughout the video, they are seen coming in and out of the water with virtually no reduction in speed, something that defies physics as we understand it today. There's also 2 different videos of UAPs coming in and out of clouds. This first one is similar to other videos in terms of just being an orb or a dot in the distance, but the second video is much more interesting. It's similar to the UFO in the movie Nope, trying to minimize how visible it is within the clouds. And one of the most confusing videos is this one here. It shows a shape-shifting UAP which seems to replicate plasma. People have attempted to point out shapes in the object, but it's constantly changing and is too anomalous to be able to accurately identify anything. And it's similar to this video of another unidentified anomalous phenomena. This one isn't changing shape as much as the previous one, but nevertheless it is a very confusing shape, and it is unclear on if it has a structured shape at all. Now let's review the PDFs. Multiple documents totaling over 1,000 pages, mainly detailing 209 UAP sightings, largely identified as green fireballs that were seen in New Mexico from 1948 to 1950. A significant amount of them were in Roswell, Albuquerque, Kirtland Air Force Base, and Los Alamos. All locations known to be either heavily connected to UFOs or knowledgeable scientists on exotic propulsion. These sightings led to the creation of Project Grudge, a US government program to study UFOs and the precursor to Project Blue Book. Now at first, I heard green fireball and immediately thought, yeah, a meteor. So I read through the report, and the more I read, the stranger it became. According to military analysis, these objects didn't behave like typical meteors. Witnesses described them from moving horizontally instead of descending down at an angle. They flew much lower to the ground than meteors, who are typically over 40 miles above the surface. They traveled faster than V-2 rockets or any jet planes at the time, but significantly slower than meteors. And unlike meteors, they produced no sound at all. The fireballs had a consistent, bright, luminous description, while meteors start off as barely visible and then increase to a great flash of brightness. And the distinct, vibrant green appearance is very rarely observed in meteors. Now individually, maybe you could explain away 1 or 2 of these characteristics, but all of them together across more than 200 reports, with the military itself saying they don't seem like meteors and couldn't find any evidence that they were, it becomes difficult to explain. The CIA released a document of a UAP sighting from one of their field agents collecting intel in the USSR, where he had hearsay about laser weapons being tested at a nearby testing range. He was watching sports and went outside for some air and witnessed what he described as an unidentified bright circular object or mass in the sky. He was unable to make out altitude, and the only estimation he gave is that he thinks it would have been higher than the clouds if any were out. In the 10-15 seconds of his observation, he mentioned the mass or circle widened and several concentric circles formed around the mass. No sound. And what color was it? Green. And then there's the NASA material. NASA released even more documents from their previous space programs: Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo. Mercury was the United States' first space program. It took Americans to outer space and orbited the planet. Gemini was the second program for us to go further out in space, test our capabilities such as passing other aircraft and MMUs, and preparing to go to the moon. And Apollo was the program that got us to the moon and back. Mercury astronaut Gordon Cooper said he saw small luminous white particles and saw John's fireflies, something John Glenn reported when he became the first American to orbit the Earth in an earlier Mercury mission. Another Mercury astronaut, Walter M. Schirra Jr., said he saw white little objects and particles as well. A third Mercury astronaut, Scott Carpenter, said he saw white particles that looked like snowflakes.
I have the more of the white particles in view below the capsule. They appear to be traveling exactly my speed. There is one drifting off. It's going faster than I am, as a matter of fact. Their motion is random. They look exactly like snowflakes to me.
They also released the audio from a transcript of Apollo 12 astronauts seeing bright white objects that I covered in my last video on the first batch of UFO files.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of big ones on my window there. Just bright. Looks like the 4th of July out Ron's window.
Apollo 17 astronauts Gene Cernan, Harrison Schmitt, and Ronald Evans also reported seeing small white objects outside in space. They also described them as bright particles. In the first batch of UFO files, many other Gemini and Apollo astronauts also reported these exact same phenomena. White objects in space moving by, near, or past the spacecraft, sometimes close, sometimes far, sometimes alone and sometimes in groups, sometimes tumbling, and other times seeming to be moving deliberately. And the only explanation NASA ever came up with is that it was something internal with the astronauts' vision. So many different astronauts on so many different missions across years and decades, and NASA had no true explanation other than basically saying it was a hallucination for every single one of them. Now that there's been 2 batches of UFO files, one thing is becoming very clear. The topic is becoming more mainstream, and the stigma around it is decreasing. Military footage and reports going back almost a century are being released. Congressional hearings have been taking place. NASA admits a significant amount of astronauts have had some sort of experience. But it's still not quite enough to convert the most hardcore skeptics.
I mean, we're not getting together over a beer and looking at these videos and really getting excited. It's not enough yet.
But again, that's by design. It's enough to engage hardcore believers, convert a few people that just needed a bit of evidence, and is designed to continue planting the seed so that in years to come, disclosure won't be a bombshell. It'll be expected. We may already be looking at evidence that humanity has been observing something unknown for a very long time. And if more files like this continue to drop, the biggest question may no longer be whether the phenomenon is real, but how much governments actually know about it, and how long they've known.